Good evening, guys, and welcome to my first out of four tonight. Don't forget, guys, the biggest one tonight is 9:30. We had to change it, and that is about Leroy Smith. Remember the the Boston shootings and stuff. We got him on tonight at 9:30. So please, tune into that and see what happened to him when he he went to prison for 25 years. He came out and he changed his life. And we got him on at 9:30. And also we got Emily on 9 o'clock. So there you go. But in the meantime, oh, I can't believe this man. He's really, really good. Hello, Warren. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Sounds like it's
Yeah,
going to be a good night on your podcast and radio.
yeah. It's going to be really, really good tonight. We've got some, some good stuff lined up. But in the meantime, I want to talk to you about something. Should we give? Should we pay our children? Should we pay our children? Okay, pocket money.
That's a good question. There's a few different sides to it. I lean to the side of yes, given that my professional career is money management and financial advice. I think giving kids some responsibility around funds is a really good learning experience for them from a very young age. There are some parents that would say no, that children have obligations to do things around the house either way, and they shouldn't get accustomed to only doing things for money.
Right?
And I can see their point. But my belief is that the way that the current capitalist system works is you do work, you receive compensation in
Of
some
course,
form or
yeah.
another.
And also, it gives the children kind of like confidence. It's got building confidence.
Hmm.
And also, it's a way of when they leave home, say,
Yep.
you probably cheer when they leave home. You could probably go, yeah. But
Yes and no. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I know, I know. I know you'd be checking out their boyfriends and stuff. Yes, we know that.
Yeah.
But trouble is, Warren, we kind of like, it's a learning curve for them when they leave home and they got to
Yeah.
fend for themselves, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's something I don't know how much it's taught in the UK, but in Canada, financial management, paying your taxes, budgeting, those sorts of things are essentially left out of the school curriculum here, which is a real shame.
Right.
And so, one of the books that I always recommend to people that are trying to teach their kids about money management is The Wealthy Barber. It's an older book, right? Dave Chilton wrote it 30 years ago,
Right.
but it is still as valuable today as it was then. I think my dad gave me that book when I was about 12 years old, and had me read it. And it sets the principles for money management for just about anybody, whether you're 12 years old or whether you're 40. If you want to learn the basic principles of money management, that is the book to read.
Do
Rich Dad
you
Poor Dad
pay?
is good. There's a bunch of them.
Do you pay your children pocket money?
Yes.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you make them work for it?
Yes. And oh man, we did an episode on this. We got some hate on our Instagram for talking about chores and paying a an allowance on a weekly basis.
Right.
Um, there's a lot of people that feel that parents should not be having their kids work, that they should only be doing play. And my kids get lots of time to play. So I don't have an issue with kids having time to focus on play. But I do think that they need to understand that there are some obligations in order to receive money, and that they need to help contribute around the household, that it sets up good expectations for them for lifetime. Um, you know, it's not big obligations, and they're graded based on age. So our now 10-year-old has much higher expectations on her for contributing around the house than our 6-year-old does.
Mm.
Because she's able to complete more complex tasks. So yeah, they get an allowance, and then they have some chores that they have to do. Those chores are also tied to technology time and those sorts of things. And part of that is that they need to do reading and math workbooks and those sorts of things in order to get additional time and their allowance as well.
Right. Okay. So the trouble is, when I was young, I used to get pocket money,
Yeah.
and what it was, if I didn't do any house chores around the house, or if I was naughty, my mum used to say, right, okay, like a 20p off, 10p
Yeah.
off, and all that. And she taught me good manners, I must admit.
Mm-hmm.
She taught me the best way of doing it. But the trouble is, I'm getting messages already, Warren, saying, really we should keep our children kind of like away from doing that. That's the wrong way of bringing people up.
Mm-hmm.
But the trouble is, Warren,
I knew there would be.
I
Yeah.
think it's the good way to bring up, and I'm with you, because a
Yeah.
regular income allows kids to save regularly for
Yeah.
the future, don't they? It's not
Well,
restricted
and
for them.
we teach our
Yeah,
kids it's a one third, one third, one third rule. So 1/3 of the money that they earn is spend, 1/3 of the money that they earn is save, and 1/3 of the money is give. So they start with philanthropic giving right away. They start with saving, so putting money into a bank account right away, and then they have a third of it that they can spend on whatever it is that they may like. And so we're teaching them the principles of money management very early, so that hopefully they don't run into issues later on.
yeah, that's it. And also, the best time the next time your child wants something
Mm-hmm.
big, right? They know they can save
Mm-hmm.
up their pocket money to get it instead of
Yeah.
kind of like coming over to you, because children these days, all what they want is want,
Yeah.
and why not? Why should children kind of like get away with it?
But you could
And not
argue
do the
because they're
thing.
children. But
Yeah,
I'm on the same side as you here. I think it's important for them to learn it early so that they don't have problems later on. I don't think it hurts them to learn these responsibilities. It is going to be a part of their life. I think that if we don't do it and we're overly coddling them, they wind up not knowing the value of money, and they waste, which is a huge issue globally right now, particularly in North American society. Is there is so much waste that money is spent frivolously. Items are consumed and destroyed frivolously. So I think these are good skills to be teaching kids right off the bat.
of course,
Um,
yeah. And it says here, I wrote down here, or I saw it, can't remember where I saw it. It says you could further encourage this behavior, right? By long-term savings. For
yeah,
example, if you're trying to save £50, you could encourage them to save by contributing £10 once they reach £40. This can be a positive early saving experience for a child. And then
yes,
it's got then it was you were talking about the value of money, and this popped up. It said if a child doesn't have to pay for things themselves out of their own money, they may not fully appreciate the cost of things.
yeah. Yeah, and then when they want, they don't understand what it takes in order to create that money to spend it. And so I think they have a much greater appreciation of things when they understand what it took in order to be able to purchase that.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Now let's go on to about let's go on to we're still staying on the same subject, but
Yeah.
do you reward your children when their school results, or they're doing well in their exams, or you know
We haven't at this point. We have discussed it. My wife and I have discussed it, but to this point, because our children have some learning disabilities, they're constantly challenged by their schoolwork, and so they haven't been in a position where they've been receiving exceptional marks or those sorts of things. We're just trying to get them confident with actually doing it. And so we don't yet want to set up any type of reward or discipline system for school accomplishments, because we're just trying to foster self-confidence. And so pretty much anything they accomplish at school, we try to praise and reward. But it's usually with experiences rather than money. Just because school, we want to break out from doing for money's sake. School is for personal development and personal growth. And so, there's two different reward systems there. There's the experiential with my wife and I for kids versus the monetary for doing chores, those sorts of things.
Oh, yeah. I've got a message here from Lucy. And Lucy says, well done, guys. Both my children have the opportunity to earn extra for their money boxes by helping around the house. I totally agree with you, Lucy.
Yeah, thanks, Lucy, for communicating that. Yeah, I'm a proponent of that. My kids, my oldest does some babysitting and just kind of those types of jobs. The middle one does some voiceover work, like online for commercials, that sort of thing. So she makes a couple $100 here and there to do that sort of thing, and all that money that she earns goes into that one third piece. The youngest is still a little young to be doing that kind of stuff, but my kids are coming to me and saying, how can I earn a little bit of extra spending money? They're appreciating work ethic, and that if they want to be able to get these big things, they can't just rely on mom and dad. They could if they really needed to, but we want them to be inspired to do things for themselves, to develop some independence. And so they want to find things that they can do to earn money, which I think is fantastic. We recently did an episode on the podcast that was all about side hustles for kids, different things that they can do to earn some extra money if they want to. And we had some great ideas for kids on there.
I was going to pop up. That was my next subject for next week, But it's and Rachel has left me a message too on my radio. Hi, Steve. Wonderful show tonight. Thank you. What I do with my children's pocket money, I bank it. I have a junior ISA.
Mm-hmm.
I bank the money for them, so when they get older, they can have the money. We do give them a little bit of money to go by, but most of their money is put into savings when they are older. Is that a right thing to do?
I do like the idea of the long-term savings, having them set money aside for long-term. So the way that I did this is I talked to the girls about what their long-term goals would be. And so for the older two, their long-term goals are buying a car when they turn 16. And so they will put money aside for that. Obviously, when they turn 16, I'll probably need to help them to get a car that is safe and not just affordable. Because here in Canada, right, we drive everywhere because everything is so far apart. So you kind of getting a car at the age of 16 is like the next step towards adulthood, towards independence. So that's something that they would like to do. For the younger one, it's much smaller goals. Like she wants to get herself an iPhone, right?
All right.
Because she sees her big sister with an iPod and wants to save up towards that. So they're great goals for them. I think it's really good to start teaching them that early on.
Yeah, Carol says, giving my kids some pocket money actually saved me a fortune instead of endless pester power.
Yeah.
They were in control of their own budgets and started to learn the value of money. Wow, that's really expensive. I'm not paying that, and started saving too for holidays and treats, Carol.
Mm-hmm.
That's quick. That is funny. That really good. But the trouble is, though, I I'm all for it. I'm all for pocket money.
Yeah.
You know, if it's done in the proper way,
Yes.
you know, not in a forced way.
Yeah, I think it needs to be educational in nature and support them in getting confidence with running their own finances. When I was, how old was I? I was about 14 or 15, and I convinced my parents to give me a much larger allowance, but that I would cover all of my necessities. So I would pay for all of my clothing. I would cover um, a larger portion of the things that you would expect a parent to normally cover, right? And so my parents agreed to that, but I had to submit a budget to them every month to say, both what I was planning on spending and what I had spent. And so instead of getting, I think at the time it was $3 a week, I was getting $150. Sorry, instead of $3 a week or $12 a month, I was getting $150 a month, but I had to cover all of my other expenses. So I had to pay for my clothes and school supplies and these sorts of things. So I had to budget for the year in order to be able to pay for those sorts of things. And my parents really liked this because it taught me to be able to manage my money. I also liked it because I could put money aside for bigger things. And then it also taught me the value of a deal, in that when school time came up, I wasn't going and buying, $100 pair of jeans or anything like that. I was looking for something that was going to cost me $10 because that meant it left me more money to go and spend on something else. And so, that value of money was really well ingrained into me because of that.
Yeah. I got here, don't just meet your child's financial demands, teach them financial responsibility by having them manage their own budget.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, I'm in complete agreement with that. I know there are going to be people who do not like this idea because, kids need to be kids and all that kind of stuff. But kids are only kids for so long, and then they need to be trained to be adults.
Yeah, and why not? Why not now? I keep saying it. I'm just all for it. I think it teaches children responsibility.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I don't care. If people come back, people are coming back now on my radio, and I can totally understand. But I've got to be partial between two. Between the 80s and the pre. But I totally agree. I totally agree about this pocket money business, and I'm sorry. I've got to kind of I'm sticking to my guns, and I don't care what you say about me because I don't care. Okay, so there you go. But should children get pocket money? I say yes.
Yeah, I'm in agreement.
And my partner in crime is in agreement. So anyway, but the trouble is, what we need to do is that this should be on the school syllabus. Do you agree?
Yeah, completely. For high school.
Yeah. For finance and everything.
Yeah. They need a whole course on financial education, learning how interest rates work, the pros and cons of credit, how to do your taxes, the power of compounding interest. There's all kinds of things that kids need to learn in order to be prepared for their future. Because I don't know about in the UK, but in Canada, the second they go off to university, so you walk onto a university campus, you're usually around 18 years old. You're in Frosh Week, so the first week of school, and there are booths for credit cards, right? And so you go up and there it's like free $500 if you sign up for a credit card now or whatever it may be. And so what a kid's go and do? They go and sign up for a credit card, and so they start using the credit card, and then they rack it up. At the same time, they're taking out student loans to help cover off their tuition costs, that sort of thing. By the time they get out of university, fortunately in Canada, it's much cheaper than our neighbors to the south, but they're still $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 in debt. And, they spend the next 10 years digging themselves out of that before they can even look at getting a mortgage or anything like that. In the US, $200,000, $300,000 of debt, of student loans and credit card debt by the time they graduate from a liberal arts college. It's insane, right? It's because they're not educated on what the consequences of those decisions are. And I think if we do a better job as parents in showing our kids what the value of money and how all of that works, and then get supported in the school system, I think we wind up with a lot less than that.
Yeah, brilliant, really good. Warren, thank you very much. I know we're finishing a bit early tonight, but I want to get some tea in between.
It's my pleasure.
All right.
I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll chat soon.
Yeah, and see you next week.
Looking forward to it. Okay, bye, Steve.
Thank you, Warren. Thank you. Bye-bye. There you go, guys. I'm going to be back around about what time? I'm going to be back about I think it's around about 9 o'clock. Yeah, I think so. I'll be back around about 9:30. No, 9 o'clock with Emily, then 9:30 with the biggie. So please tune in then.